Hey there, my name's Joe Keyport, and you're listening to the Ear Coffee Podcast. This week, I talked to Dez Lawrence, who performs under the name Dusty Forever. Late last month, Dez released his debut record under the project called Sing. It's a 9-track, 30-minute folk rock expanse that puts Dez's visual songwriting abilities on full display. Now, I do have to let you know that my half of the interview got lost right after recording, so I had to re-record all my questions after the fact. So if things feel a little wonky or the conversation doesn't quite line up, that's why. Technical difficulties aside, I had a wonderful conversation with Dez, and I got some really cool insights into the songwriter's world that I'd love to share with you. It's Dez Lawrence playing as Dusty Forever, and he's right here on the Ear Coffee Podcast. Hey Dez, how's it going?
Going very well. Happy to be here.
Good. One of the first things I always ask bands is, how do you describe your project to other people when they ask? So how do you describe Dusty Forever for when someone asks, like, what is that? You play in a band? That's cool. What's Dusty Forever?
Well, it's sort of a storytelling device, I guess, is how I feel about it. I just sort of get to say things that I see or feel occasionally and just put it into music. It's a sort of folksy, rocky blend of sounds. Yeah. And I don't know. It's just fun for me.
So I want to get some history on you personally and your relationship with music, because everybody's got such a unique and personal history. What made you want to start playing music, and what made you want to become a songwriter, Dez?
Yeah, sure. So I guess like one of the first moments I realized I need to play music in my life was watching School of Rock, starring Jack Black. And yeah, I don't know. I just loved that movie. I couldn't stop watching it when I think I first watched it when I was 7 or 8 or something. And yeah, so that was, I got really interested in it then. And then, my stepbrother started playing guitar when I was maybe 10 or 11 or something like that. And he just got so good so fast, and it was really inspiring to me. And he played guitar, and I thought that looked a little too hard for me. So I decided, I asked my parents to get me a bass for my birthday, and they complied, thankfully. Yeah. And I don't know, the rest is sort of history from there. Is just like trying to keep up with him all the time. And in the last 5 years or so, I started playing guitar and stuff, just trying out other instruments. And I don't know, once I could, sort of play a little bit of everything, songwriting just sort of started happening naturally, because I thought, oh, this drum part could go good with that guitar part, and got thousands of voice memos in my phone that are, just like 2 chords, and it all just sort of comes together naturally eventually. But yeah, and I guess, no, that's about it. A lot of inspiration, from various artists and stuff. My dad played a lot of the Beatles and Grateful Dead, and sort of hippy dippy 60s stuff. And then my mom was all about the Cure and the Smiths and stuff. So I had sort of different, like 2 different sides of sort of rock music coming at me. So it just got me curious, I guess, from an early age. Yeah.
So then when did you start writing songs? Because you've been playing, and what made you start wanting to write songs, and when did you start writing songs?
Yeah, I think so. I sort of started making beats sort of things and on my computer in high school. But I think the first song I wrote specifically for me, not to be played in another band or anything. I was staying with my friend Wyatt over the summer after my freshman year of college. I didn't have a place to stay, and he let me sleep with him in his bed in his tiny apartment with no windows.
Damn.
For 3 months.
Like, shout out Wyatt.
Yeah, seriously, shout out Wyatt. And then one week, I guess it became too much for him. He had to go on a little vacation. I think he went back to his hometown for a little bit. And that week I decided I was going to make a silly little EP, and I wrote maybe a handful of songs. That was in 2016 or 17. And yeah, just locked myself in his room with one microphone and I don't know, banged something out just for fun. And I guess from then on, I've just sort of been hooked because I realized it's only as hard as you make it, you know, and these things can just sort of pop up out of nowhere.
Isn't Dusty Forever your first solo project? Because like you've been playing in bands for a minute now, haven't you?
Correct. Yeah. I was in Early Eyes for 4 or 5 years. It's like a local indie pop band. And I don't know, I had filled in a little bit here and there for bands like Lucid Vanguard and 26 Bats. Yeah, mainly because we were neighbors for a long time, for a couple of years. So I could just walk over to their house and yeah. Yeah, those were like the few main projects I was associated with beforehand. Yeah.
So then talk to me about the pseudonym you perform under, Dusty Forever. Why not perform under your own name? You know, why perform under the pseudonym?
Yeah. So I guess this is a name that I've been thinking about for a very long time. For about years, I've been wanting to switch over to this because I just make solo stuff under, but that was sort of got out in high school, you know, and it led up to, you know, only a few months ago, I decided, well, I guess maybe more like a year ago, I decided to do it different under a different name. Just felt like Swims was stuff, and this new I love it with a long time ago, and it means nothing. It's just to be silly, you know. Lighthearted, and I just the whole point of the record is, and the name and all of it is just to lighten the mood a little bit, you know, and not take it too seriously. But yeah, I think, okay, this is a good little snippet anecdote is, I started drumming for this other band that I'm in, Full Catholic. I figured to probably get a drum set so I can play the drums, because I only just started playing them last September of 2021. And so I drove out to the country and picked a drum set from some dude on Facebook Marketplace. And I mean, I love the drum set. It's like this weird brown finish, and it's just a disgusting looking drum set, but I love the way it sounds. But I looked at it and I tried to scrub it off a little bit. It had been sitting in his basement for years, I guess. And just looked at it and I said, you know, this thing's going to be Dusty forever. There's no way I can, you know, clean this. And between that and I don't know, there were a few other instances where I was just like, those two words kept on coming out of my mouth. And I was like, all right, yeah, this is some sort of sign. I'm taking this as a sign. It's probably purely random coincidence, but yeah.
So one of the reasons here today is we're here to talk about your debut record as Dusty Forever Sing. So talk to me about the project and the period these songs were written over, and what feelings and emotions you were trying to pour into this music.
Yeah, this debut record thing. Um, I guess the first song I think I wrote about a year ago. It was Light Years, the one about my imaginary dog, my future dog, Daisy. She's out there somewhere, but yeah, I wrote that one last summer. Just sort of, I was biking around and just I was down by the river, and there were these dogs, swimming around, and I don't know, it just felt like a song to me. So I just sort of took a mental picture and typed a couple things in my phone, and when I got home, I tried to flesh out the lyrics a little bit, and basically just started playing chords. Just it's pretty simple G, C, F kind of stuff, open chords, but and then that just sort of happened, and I had never really experimented with writing songs on the guitar specifically. It was always sort of a make an instrumental and then sing over it sort of thing for me. And so I realized, like, wow, this is, one, way easier. Two, I can play this live. This is amazing. And I don't know, it just felt way more special than doing it all on the computer right away. So I would say about 50% of the songs, lyrically, were written on my bicycle last summer. Yeah, I was just sort of biking past and would see something and think, okay, that's a click, gonna save that in my memory, and then when I get home, I'll sort of sing about it. Yeah, it's not supposed to be too much deeper than that. Although I have, over the course of creating the things, sort of put my own little personal meanings to it. But yeah, for most of it, it's just supposed to be, a little. Each song is a little chapter that I'm just talking about, random little short stories and stuff. But and then I guess the sort of the title "Sing" just felt appropriate because there are 3 title tracks on the record technically. So I put myself into a box with that one, but it also felt appropriate because I was doing the more sort of traditional songwriting thing, so singer-songwriter, and yeah, so there's that aspect of it too.
Something very striking about your songs is how visual your lyrics are. So, kind of talk to me about your approach to songwriting and why you work so hard to kind of make them into such a cinematic almost piece.
Yeah, I really like, personally, when I'm listening to a song, I like being able to sort of see what I'm listening to. Not necessarily in like some sort of trippy way, but just like the sort of like, if you're gonna mention a bird in a song, what kind of bird is it? And is it flying? Is it sitting? Is it eating? Is it, I don't know, is it building its nest? What's it grabbing to build its nest? I just love all the little details. So I tried to I don't know, get a lot of those in there, but not overdo it too much, because I want people to have their own interpretations too. But yeah, I guess that's sort of the main thing in the practice of songwriting for me is specificity, and trying to really provoke an image.
Well, yeah, you still want to leave like some stuff up for the listener to really kind of put themselves in the scene instead of just giving it, like all away.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, I guess on not being too specific, like I keep coming back to Light Years. That's just one of my favorite songs, and again, was sort of the first one that came about. But I want people to think of their dog when I'm talking about the dog or something, because to me it's very much I always picture a golden retriever for no reason in particular, but that's what it is to me. Yeah, I suppose. But yeah, I don't know. I love giving people. It's like a Mad Lib kind of, giving people blanks to fill in, but also being able to sort of guide people through a story of sorts.
Earlier, you talked about how you did a lot of your songwriting almost in the box, producing beats and stuff like that. Talk to me about really kind of doing it more of a singer-songwriter approach where you're sitting down with the acoustic guitar, with your instrument, and kind of working from that way as opposed to doing everything, in the box.
I gotta say, it was a lot slower, but it was sort of well, I don't know. It was very different, obviously, but I really liked it a lot more. It felt more personal and real, I guess. I'm kind of struggling to come up with stuff, but I guess one of my favorite things was that I recorded it over the winter, this past winter, and I was able to do some stuff just in my apartment, in my room. But during the winter, there's this pipe in my room that constantly has water rushing through it, for reasons unknown to me, but and why it has to be in my room, an exposed pipe in my room, I don't know. But I was working around that parameter, and so I would go over to friends' houses to record stuff in their living rooms, and I don't know, go over to people's houses to use their gear and stuff. And it sort of became this communal thing. And I mean, it's also the most collaboration I've ever done on a record. Yeah, my friend Henry James Patterson, he played guitar in the outfield, and actually all of the other members in my other band, Full Catholic, the singer Danny, she did a bunch of backup vocals, and one of the guitar players, Lane, did guitars on Sing 2 and Sing in My Sleep, and John did synth on Sing 2. And so it was just fun to try to get everybody on this record. I had bigger plans for getting, Carl from Lucid Vanguard. I really wanted him to do pedal steel on it, or lap steel, pardon me. But he, kind of just right around the time I started working on it, moved to New Orleans. So that didn't end up working out, but next one. But yeah, I don't know. It just was a really warm and fuzzy experience all around. I just had a lot of fun and got to hang out while doing it. It was a good time. Although I did, there were a few fits of frustration mixed in. It's just like I'm on my 15th guitar take, and I just have to set the guitar down and go for a walk right now. Or
yeah, man, it's just how it goes sometimes. You try and you're just like. Usually if you're sitting in the room and someone else, like with my band NPS, we're sitting in the room and someone's having a bad time trying to put a take together, and you're like, yeah, take your time. But once you're under that microscope and once you get that pressure, it's a rough one.
Sometimes it's just not there. That was a weird thing. 'Cause over the winter, I was unemployed, and I had this perfect amount of time to sort of make this record, and it was always sort of looming, not necessarily in a bad way. Looming has a bad connotation, but it was always there in the back of my head, like, you're working on this thing and you really want to get it done. And there were some days I woke up and I'm thinking of it all day, but I know in my soul, you know, I just don't have it today. I don't want to try to record anything, or I just need to take a break. So that was weird to grapple with, because it's sort of just, it's on your own pace. I'm not booking studio time or anything. It's just, it's on you, you know, if you want to do it or not. But yeah, eventually it got done. And the mixing part was ridiculous, as always. I drew the line at mastering. I sent it off to my friend Tony Williamette at Minnehaha Recording Company. He's a great guy, great engineer, mix producer, masterer. He's just a mastery.
At this point, I'm pretty sure people who master things are just like wizards, because like I attempt with stuff of my own, but I'm just like, I'm gonna make it loud. There's people who actually know what they're doing and can, like, I don't know, compress and add EQ and do magic just to make things sound good.
I don't know. I did watch a YouTube video, like, could I do this myself? And the guy on YouTube made it look super easy. But I was just at my wit's end with it. I guess I had heard all the songs too many times by that point. So, yeah. That's another funny thing, is I just haven't listened to the record since it's come out. Yeah, I got the masters back. I listened to it, and I was like, this sounds good enough. So put it out.
So how does it feel to have the record out now? It's been out for about 10 days as of recording it. So what does it feel like to finally get this out into the world for people to enjoy?
Yeah, it is an absolute relief. It honestly feels like it happened lifetimes ago now. You just said 10 days, and that kind of blew my mind. And like, oh my God, that was only last week. But yeah, I don't know. It's really exciting, because I don't know, I would be out places, and I would meet people and be talking to people like, what do you do? Oh, I make music. I'm working on an album. And they're like, oh, great. I can't listen to that. I don't know what kind of music do you make? I can describe it to you, but you won't. Yeah. But now I can, you know, just say, here's my Spotify or Apple Music or Bandcamp or whatever, and people can listen to it. Internet is a beautiful thing sometimes. Sometimes. But yeah, no, it's really great, and I don't know. I am pretty proud of it, because it's a sort of a new world for me. Writing on it specifically for it to play live, or for it to be able to play it on the bar. It's cool.
Talk to me about how your approach to soundscaping, because there's a lot going on in these songs, and it's not like just on tracks like Life Beams You. Light Wind has droplets of water and other percussion. There's bleep bloops on Sing 2, and plus the atmospheric room sounds on Smile. Has this always been something that you've experimented with?
Yeah. I've just always loved like droney, ambient music and repetitive stuff that you can just sort of either you know, clean your house to, or just stare at the ceiling. You know, I love that stuff. So I've always been sort of geared towards textures. So yeah, I don't know. It's just always, I think it's always been there. The sort of weird spacey stuff that, I don't know. I almost focus more on that sometimes than I do on, can you hear this vocal melody enough? Or my dad's always like, not to bring him up again, but my dad's always like, I can't hear what you're saying. Cause I'm getting covered up by that weird sound, or I'm too focused on that weird sound. And, but I don't know. I think it all has to coexist for me to be really happy with it. Yeah, but I sort of forgot what the question was, but
Yeah, we were talking about your approach to putting some of those ambient things together for this record because there's a lot going on in these tracks. Did you do anything different or any interesting approaches that maybe you haven't tried before with your, other music?
I guess there is something that I did do differently as far as like the ambient textures on this record is that I tried to make them all organically, with putting a mic in front of something, as opposed to,
Yeah. I saw a post on Instagram where you had like a mic set up in like your shower or something.
yeah. That was where I did all the vocals for the record. I recorded all of them in my bathroom because that running water pipe in my room is a little quieter in there, and yeah, I put the shower mic. The shower mic was the room mic, and then there was one closer. And that was also there for a lot of like the strings and stuff, and I would use that for, I don't know, just sort of trying to widen the sound. And yeah, that is a little bit different, but and all the synth stuff is mostly like more analog stuff, more so than MIDI stuff.
So was there like anything specific you've done differently to try and capture those organic sounds for your soundscaping on this record?
Well, I definitely haven't like dangled a SM57 microphone over my sink before. That was a new thing for me. I just filled up my sink and like splashed around in there. That was cool, but not that's not too off the wall. But I guess nothing too off the wall. But I did really get into all the strings and stuff on the record. I have stand-up bass, like a double bass for orchestra and jazz band, and I pretty much exclusively use the highest string on that instrument to, try and emulate a cello or a violin or viola. But I really fell in love with this weird sound I got out of it because, so obviously I'm using the bow on it, but I haven't put rosin on the bow, like the sticky stuff that sort of lets you attack the string more in a more clean way. I haven't put that stuff on. I haven't owned that since high school orchestra. So that bow is dusty forever. But I got all these weird sort of overtones, like really weird harmonics coming out of the instrument whenever I would hold a long note. So I tried to use those in a couple places, and actually tried to like intentionally would try to get that higher one or the middle one, so that was fun, and extremely aggravating and extremely exhausting. That was I forgot how hard that instrument is to play because I would be, standing up, holding it in front of a mic, trying to be completely still and, like elbow up and it's all about posture and stuff. And I'd do 5 takes or 12 takes or whatever, and I'd be exhausted. I'd be like sweating in my room because I don't know, it's just a crazy instrument to play. It takes serious stamina, but yeah. One last sort of cool tidbit as far as weird textures goes. On Light Wind, the third song on the record, the one that has this sort of ridiculous time signature that I still don't understand. I've never understood it. I don't know what it is. The sort of bloopy drums, the just sort of seemingly random drum beat, which I think is the idea. I was doing a songwriting class through School of Song, this website that has musicians come on and sort of teach whatever they want to teach. I guess there's songwriting, there's guitar, there's all this different stuff you can do. But the artist Lomelda, if you're familiar with Lomelda, sort of, she's like a folk singer, songwriter sort of person. Oh, folk rock, I don't know. But she really likes writing in odd time signatures. And one of her sort of assignments was to write a song over this ridiculous drum beat that she made. And that was the song that I wrote. I obviously put a lot more into it. When she sent the drum beat to the rest of the class, I just did guitar and vocals. I think maybe bass as well. But I just sort of, I don't know. I fell in love with that song after I made it, and I just thought that was kind of funny and serendipitous how it just happened to. I wasn't thinking like this song is going to be anything great. I sat down, an hour or two before it was due technically, and just, sort of cranked something out, and then I don't know, I loved it, and those were still lyrics that I had in my phone from a bike ride, so it still sort of held up with the theme of the record, but yeah.
So, Des, I did want to ask about the middle track, Life Beams You, because it's a bit of a departure from the rest of the album without being necessarily an outlier. So talk to me about the track and where it came from and why you decided to include this instrumental track within the record.
Well, I knew going into the record, I was like, there's going to be an instrumental song, because I always tend to like the instrumental song on any given record, if there is one, the best. And man, I keep coming back to my father, but he also, that's his favorite one as well. So I guess runs in the family. But that one sort of came about. I just woke up one morning having my coffee, just playing the guitar in my living room over here, and tuned down to drop D and started finger picking, and I don't know, it just sort of happened. I came up with a loose structure. I sort of improvised every part of that song, except for like the main melody on the first half, that sort of comes in and out. But yeah, as far as structure goes, I didn't really know where that one was going to go until I put the mic down in front of me. And then, I did that guitar just, maybe between the hours of 8 a.m. and noon, and then went about my day and didn't think about it for a week. And then I came back to it, and it was just the guitar. And I picked up the stand-up bass, made a bunch of those weird overtone sounds I was talking about, and sort of tried to have a loose direction as to what I wanted to play, and just did a bunch of takes and layered them over each other and added a few more guitars and stuff, but really just tried to keep it loose and again, it really did end up just being this thing. I wasn't sure what it was going to be, but I loved it. It was just a really fun time, and came together really quick. After I let it sit around on my computer for a week. Oh, and I just love the title of the song. It's just something that my friend from Madison said to me. That's my hometown. I'm originally from Madison, Wisconsin, and it's this dude I worked at. I had my first job in an ice cream shop with him. He's a few years older than me. He's a ridiculously good visual artist. He does these super detailed pen drawings. His name is Ryan. And he's a very interesting dude, and we DM on Instagram sometimes, and he loves my music and I love his art. And I sent him one of the songs, and he just said, his response was like, life beams you. And so I was like, that's just too good. I gotta just put that on the record. So yeah, that's where that came from.
And then, as we got a few questions left here, Des, what are some of the moments of creating this record that really stick out to you? They can be good or bad, but what are some that you always kind of look back on or think about when thinking about creating Sing?
I guess one of my favorite ones was over the last summer, I played this backyard show at my friend's house. And I had like almost finished writing Light Years, or maybe I had just started that week writing Light Years, and the show was Friday and it was Wednesday or Thursday or something, and the gig was coming up, and I mean, it was more of just like a hangout thing. It was all friends playing music and stuff, but I was like, man, I just need to finish this song for this because I want to play it so bad. And so I just sort of, I just sat down and really tried to, finish the rest of the lyrics and memorize all of the lyrics, because there's a lot of words in that one. And I don't know, that was great. And everybody who was there for me everybody that heard me play that knew me was like, that was the best song. Like, I loved that song. That's my favorite song of yours. And so that was a big inspirational point, I guess, that was like, okay, I got to do this a little bit more, and I can, make a whole thing. I don't know, a couple other ones, I guess. Just this is much later in the process and much more recent chronologically. I went over to the Full Catholic house, to Lane and Danny's house, where my other band Full Catholic practices, and I brought up, like I had just finished the record, and I had been, doing mixed references sort of stuff with them, like, what do you guys think about this? Is there anything you want to hear? Whatever. And they're like, oh my God, like, we have to listen to it after practice. And so we did our few hours of playing music, and then we all sat down, and I sort of expected, because they'd all heard, I think, all the songs before, and we'd talked about them for months and months and months now. And so we sat down. I was sort of expecting to, throw on the record and hang out and just listen to it and talk and whatever. And like, Danny put it on, and then we were all silent for like 30 minutes. I would like sort of try to say something to them, and they'd be like, yeah. And they were just so dead. And I don't know. I just felt it made me really happy that, people that I really cared about me and my music that much. And it was just a really special moment. And I don't know. Also, my friend, Anna, my partner, Anna, just like, always supportive the whole time, sort of, just hearing me out at any time of day. I would just be blabbing about, like, sir, I got to get this guitar part done, or I got to do this. And she would just always say, like, you got it. It's going to be great. I love what I've heard so far. And this that she put up with is me. Yeah, seriously. So I had a huge shout out there. I don't know. It all seems like kind of a blur now, because either so focused and tuned in or completely tuned out in the process.
Well, cool, Des. Sing is out now. You can listen to the record wherever you stream your music. Des, thank you so much for coming on the show. Congrats on the great new record.
Well, thank you for having me, and thanks for listening, and it really means a lot.
The Ear Coffee Podcast is a companion to the blog of the same name. If you like this episode, please leave us a rate and review so we can stand out among the other music podcasts. You can follow us at Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram @Ear Coffee. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next time.